It's Maddie. Welcome back to my channel, and welcome to week 3 of Diabetes Awareness Month. Screwed up my wrist at work somehow. Don't know what happened, but I've been living in this brace for the entire weekend, and it seems to not be getting any worse. But I've been babying it, and it's been really hard for me because I'm not ambidextrous, but I do some things with my left hand, like cutting meat and vegetables, and I actually naturally hold my phone in my left hand, so for me to hold my phone in my right hand, it feels really unnatural to me. So if I feel like I'm a robot in this video, I apologize, because my left hand has a lot of function for me. At work, it's functional to hold like a mirror and a suction, but it's not my instrument that I use to clean teeth with, because I'm right hand dominant, of course. But even like to hold certain things at work, if I bend it forward, it hurts really, really bad. And it not so much anymore, but it did for a while. It had like a burning sensation to it. I don't know if I messed up a tendon or something like that, but if you see this on, trust me, I'm going in the right direction. I don't know. It's just a weird thing. Anyways, so I'm going to answer 8 questions from Reba Redmond's Instagram challenge, and again, I will put her Instagram down below if I remember. I'll put the rest of my links out for any other videos that I may reference or other people. So with that being said, let's jump right into these 8 questions. Always, if you see a cat's tail or my ring light ends up appearing in my shot, you can blame Tinkerbell. Okay, so somebody's sneezy. Okay, so the first one for this video is favorite diabetes accessory. Now, I have so many that I love and I've done reviews on, but y'all know I probably talk most about the Genteel lancing device, and the reason why I love it so much is because not only is it really comfortable to poke your finger, but it gives you freedom and flexibility to take your blood from anywhere. I love taking it from the palm of my hand, my forearm, the top of my knee, and because my job requires like fingertip work all the time, I hold instruments like this. I'm putting my fingertips directly in patients' mouths. I need something to not scar and make my fingers feel really sensitive. So I swear by this when I need to do a manual blood sugar check. Other things I like, I have a diabetic bag, I have a vial safe, I've got those Frio coolers. I've got a lot of different things that I absolutely love, but by far the Genteel is my number 1. Number 2, a T1D we need to follow. Okay, so I did a video a long time ago. I don't even know when. My guess would be about 2 years ago. I listed at the time all the people that I really, really look up to as type 1 diabetics. The biggest thing I can tell you, though, is look up to each other, because we all have something unique to share about this disease. We all have different advice and different things that we use to manage and, go through our life with it. So use that video if you want as a reference. Anybody on Beyond Type 1 would also be a safe resource. Now, some people are more active than others. Like myself, I'm more of an active member on that site, but there are a lot of other people that are active as well. I would trust any of those. However, be cautious. There are some bots on Beyond Type 1 that we all try to kick out and things like that. So just be cautious about who you're interacting with, but not going to make myself sound braggy, because I'm not that way. I don't portray myself as this bragging person. I'm very simple, very humble. But please know I am a safe space for you. I would never, ever judge you or degrade you or make you feel uncomfortable. If you want to talk to me, please go ahead and do so, whether it's here or any of my social medias that I've linked. Any social media that I've linked as public, I'm okay with you talking to me on. Now, will it take me a while to respond? Possibly, just because, like all the rest of you, I either work, I have other personal things in my life that I go through too, so it may take me a while to actually respond to you, but please do not hesitate to reach out to me. I'll walk you through anything you need. Number 3 is a medical alert, medical alert ink or jewelry. I'm a big jewelry person. I had this really cool tattoo that's temporary that is now worn off, and it said never give up, and it was a butterfly. I do not have any permanent tattoos on my body. I don't intend on ever getting a permanent tattoo. I think my cousin actually may have one for type 1 diabetes, and I think that's cool. If you want to do that, you go for it, but it's just not something that I personally foresee myself doing. Now, when I was a teenager, I really wanted to, like, either have a tooth on my wrist or something with diabetes. I don't know. But that was a long time ago, and actually my thought of like having a tattoo came even before I was diagnosed with diabetes, and it wasn't going to be this big sleeve or anything like that. I would have wanted something simple on my wrist or something like that. But that, there's the tail, that has since passed, and I'm not against people that want to put tattoos on their body. If you want to express yourself in that way, go for it. I express art in other ways. So I'm a jewelry person. Now, I don't have like a fancy necklace or a fancy bracelet. I do have a very simple latched bracelet that tells my full name, that I have type 1 diabetes, and that I am insulin dependent. And that's a big thing to make sure you put on a medical alert, is that if you are a type 1 diabetic, you are dependent on insulin to survive. As well as I have my mother as my emergency contact, her information to get a hold of her, as well as I have a codeine allergy, so I put that on there as well. So if you go into a hospital, they want to put you to sleep with some sort of medication, do not ever give me codeine. There goes the tail again. Long story short, it makes my heart rate feel like I'm having a heart attack. That was a long time ago. They basically think it's an allergy. They're not 100% sure, so they're not going to give it to me again. But I recommend the jewelry, at least some sort of jewelry like that. And then I've been really bad about wearing that bracelet as of recent. So I have an Apple Watch that I normally wear on my left wrist, but have not been able to due to this brace for this entire weekend. But I have the like my watch band, and then I have a little sleeve that says type 1 diabetes. So at the very least, if I got in a car accident, heaven forbid, or something major happened to me, that medical personnel are trained to look at your neck, your wrist, areas of your body like appendages to look for medical alerts. So at least they would be aware I'm a type 1 diabetic. Number 4, dreams and goals. So I naturally want to put my phone in my left hand. I am not a lefty, like a true lefty, but why do I do this? Dreams and goals, like, I'm assuming they're talking about dreams and goals as in my life in general. So, well, first of all, 2 of those dreams are really a reality. I have the career I want, and I certainly have a YouTube channel that I wanted to start, and I never ever intended this channel to be like some sort of get attention, be popular kind of thing. But every single day, you guys, I don't joke when I tell you this, every single day I come on here and I make a video, I cannot believe that there are a lot of people that want to watch me. I am just, what is it with me? Like, I understand I'm this great person, but at the same time, I'm really not that, I don't want to say I'm not that special, but I'm just not this, I don't see myself as this big star or something that you think of like, oh, Hollywood stars or something like that. But I do have these dreams and goals set, and I mean, I've got a lot of other dreams and goals. I think I've went into that on previous videos. Travel, have a family, like basic stuff that anybody would want in life. I mean, the main thing I get from this prompt is do not let this disease stop you from hindering that, because it certainly didn't hinder me from achieving 2 of my biggest goals that I wanted to do. And actually, kind of the drive that compelled me to put myself out on YouTube was type 1 diabetes, but actually it was a dream of mine even before I was diagnosed in 2018. Now, I didn't really know what I would have talked about. Maybe I wouldn't have had this bigger center motivation to really correlate to different people, but I do see this channel now as more of an outlet for that, because I see it as a way that I have this disease. This is a way for me to share it and express it in a way that can help other people. Even if it just helps one person, to me, that's huge. Like, I'm a person that wants to help other people. So by using this disease as an advocacy for other people and not being afraid to share things is huge for me, and I'm very thankful that I took the guts 3 years ago to do this. Now, are there things I have to be careful for when I'm on here? Absolutely. I don't need people attacking me or hurting me. So what I do share is very real, but also do know I don't share every single personal part of my life on YouTube. And if and when I do decide to share other things in my life, I will share them as things progress, or if I don't share them, I don't share them, and I appreciate you guys respecting that. So, this is number 5, die buddies. Now, I've got a lot of die buddies. Y'all are my die buddies, first of all. There's not a single person that I've interacted with as a type 1 diabetic that I'm like, I don't want to interact with them. I mean, there are those bots on Beyond Type 1 that, like, I think that they pretty much just go for young women, and it's really just nasty altogether. But I don't even respond to those messages because I'm just not. But Diabuddies to me are going to be your best resource to navigate through this disease. Diabuddies, whether they are through YouTube channels, through Instagram, actual meetups are great as well. Just make sure you're safe. And then, of course, Beyond Type 1 is a great resource to get Diabuddies. And I've actually had some Diabuddies that I've gotten really close to and have expressed, more interests in more of my personal life, just because you get to know certain people. And it amazes me that how many people, like, want to count on me as a Diabuddy, and I also love that I have other Diabuddies to rely on. So Diabuddies are a huge thing. Diabetes buddies is kind of the term it comes from. If you're a non-diabetic and you're just happening to watch this, like, what's a Diabuddy? It's just a term that we as type 1 diabetics use to refer to somebody else who has the same disease that we're close with. So Diabuddies are a huge thing, not only for managing a disease, but you also can become more personal friends with them and just feel comfortable, navigating through not only this disease both physically but as well as mentally. Sorry, my phone's not on silent. Question 6, blood sugar roll call. So right now I am, y'all can see that, I'm at 111 and stable. Well, that's awesome that I did that. Earlier it was kind of, I was riding kind of higher after some heavier protein stuff last night, and then I spiked really bad today. I'm not going to kid you. The site I had in my arm would work great for basals, but at boluses, I would constantly spike to 250 or 300, even with a 35-minute pre-bolus. I pulled this old site off just a little bit ago because I leave my sites in now after watching Michelle Lord's video. If you're a Tandem user, please leave your sites in, old sites in after you disconnect them for at least 2 hours, because an insulin will back leak out of where the cannula was inserted. So I just ripped this one off, and underneath it, of course, there's blood in the cannula. So I'm like, great. So this whole entire time, it's been giving me appropriate basals, but boluses, it just won't work well in a blood vessel. I go to put on my pump site tonight, or this afternoon. It took me 3 spots. First spot on my stomach, I put it in, I pull it off, blood everywhere. Second side I put in, I put a 30-degree one in, I put it in, blood back leaks out of the whole entire cannula, all 13 millimeters. I pull it off and blood continues to leak. Third time's a charm, stuck it on my thigh, we are now fine. So anyways, I'm happy my blood sugar is 111, actually just changed to 104. So hopefully this site's actually going to be working for me really well. And I guess, you know what, in honor of Diabetes Awareness Month, I will do a finger prick because I allow myself to see how accurate this guy is. Should I try my arm? This is why I love this. This is why I really do. I don't know if that gave me enough blood. It might be close. Oh, it's really close though. You know what? I'm going to do it on this one. It doesn't hurt, I promise you guys. This is why I love this device, because you can poke in so many different areas. Oh my goodness. This is something else. Okay, I'm bleeding everywhere, and now I can't get a single drop of blood to come out of my arms. What in the world? I'll figure this out one way or another. All right. Come on, Maddie, you can hit a blood vessel when you put your pump sites in, but you can't hit one when you want to poke yourself. This looks like a good spot. I don't know. Jackpot. I think I got it. Third poke's the charm, right? I think we got plenty of blood here now. Perfect. It poked way up on my upper arm. So we'll see. Dexcom's just slightly off, but again, I took a reading from a different body. It says I'm 132, but I'm okay with either one. Maybe I should just give this a calibrate because it just wanted to act really weird. So I'll calibrate it and hopefully it'll line it up. I calibrate every so often. I don't do it all the time, but either way, that's a blood sugar I'm okay with considering what I've been going through the past 24 hours. So You can all see the problems I've been having today with either, number one, poking myself, and I always have blood in my sights, or number two, I could not get a drop of blood for you too. Congratulations, Maddie. You can either get tons of blood or you can't get it at all, but I swear to you, it doesn't even really mess with anything. I mean, you're taking it from different parts of your body. Now, I want to talk about that in a future video, like you might get a little bit of a different reading, but I haven't calibrated my Dexcom in a while, so I trust that this is accurate to what my blood sugar is. And considering it's not in a fingertip and it's in an arm, it's further up my body, not further down to the tip. So, and by the way, I was able to go through and get this guy nice and clean, so it actually launches really good, and it closes. So, I went through and I lubricated all my O-rings, everything's great, so yay, happy dance. Anyways, let's move on to the next question. 7, this is a big one. Type 1 diabetes, cost of living. I'll be honest with you, even if you have medical insurance, and mine is decent, there are some parts of it that aren't, it is not cheap to live as a type 1 diabetic. I pay really well for my insulin pump supplies. I pay really reasonable for my insulin. Glucagon's pretty reasonable as well, considering I can get the nasal glucagon called Baqsimi. I hope to be talking about that in the future. That's a little bit different versus the traditional glucagon. I can get that all relatively reasonable. However, I pay out of pocket for my Dexcoms because my insurance, my insurance, running it through my insurance would be a lot worse than paying out of pocket. And I do it because I want to live and I want to survive. I pay my medical bills on time. I pay all my co-pays. So think about how expensive it all adds up. Not necessarily just your medications and the supplies you use. Think about every time you go see your endocrinologist. For me, I also have another cost of, I don't want to say it's related to type 1 diabetes, but since being diabetic, I am vitamin D deficient. Not super bad, barely deficient, but I still take 3,000 units of that a day, so that's an extra cost that I got to think about. Think about all the times you buy test strips and lancets and all the low blood sugar supplies you have to buy. Now, of course, like if you're having candy and something, it might feel like a treat, but think about that money eventually adds up. Juice as well. It all adds up over time, and if I had to guess, I want to sit down and actually figure this out and openly share what I pay for my stuff, just because I don't really care if I share that part, because it's just going to make this more of a reality. And I'm blessed and I'm very lucky that my coverage is probably pretty good in comparison to some of you where you may be sitting and where other people could be sitting. I'm not having to ration insulin or diabetes supplies. I'm not having to worry about, can I pay this bill, can I not, because I have a very stable and secure job. I got educated and I'm able to pay for that fully. But I want to sit down and figure out exactly what I use. But if I had to guess, I probably pay anywhere from $5,000 to $8,000 out of pocket every year to keep myself alive. Now, it is what it is. Is it fair? Absolutely not. And I think the whole entire United States and other places can really learn to recognize that this type of medical disease is not anybody's fault. I mean, this is an autoimmune disease. I did not induce this diabetes. Why should I have to suffer and pay for things? I understand things have to have a cost. I'm a believer in capitalism, but I'm not a believer in paying thousands of dollars for something that is deemed a luxury by my insurance to check my blood sugar. My insurance claims my Dexcoms are a luxury. They think that poking my finger 4 to 10 times a day is more of a reasonable thing. Excuse me, I don't know why I'm losing my voice. Is a reasonable thing versus having a continuous glucose monitor to monitor my sugars all the time. So it's really just a matter of getting people to switch their perspectives. And like I said, I understand there has to be a cost to everything, but as a type 1 diabetic, when I am paying in so much, I should be getting a lot of more benefit than what we're going through here. So no matter who you are, please continue to advocate for your costs of living as a type 1 diabetic, even though everybody's costs are different. And now, like I said, I went into a little more personally what I have to pay out of pocket, and maybe it's way more than some of you pay. But I certainly know it's way less than what probably some of you pay. And I know some of you that do struggle, and I am so sorry. And trust me, I'm that kind of person. If you became desperate, I would help you because I know you guys would help me. So, yeah, number 7, that answers that question. and I'm really just struggling to not hold my phone in my left hand right now. And last question for the day is diabetes essentials. So what are my essentials? Well, I recommend having a specific diabetes bag to carry your stuff in. Always have a meter with you and finger sticks if you do use a CGM like me, because at any point it can fail or be a little off. Kind of thankful I did both tests. So I'm somewhere between 111 and 132, but those are still good numbers. I also recommend that if you're a pump user, have a site change ready to go, if not two of them, because sometimes you don't know if the site will deploy properly. I also recommend that you have your insulin with you at all times, a couple of low blood sugar treatments, and a glucagon. If you're going to have those basics, keep those there. There's other things you could add, like ketone, test strips, water. There's a bunch of other things that I could think of that, like, hey, you could add to that, but diabetes essentials, the basics like that, are important to have. And they're essential for you to survive in the event that your blood sugar decides to go really high or really low. With that being said, have a backup to your pump. I have syringes and a vial of insulin to hold me over in the event that my pump would fail me. And then at home here, I have long-acting Levemir and Humalog pens if I want a pump break, or if something malfunctions with my tandem pump, I have some long-acting insulin to hold me over. And again, another great video idea. I really want to sit down and tell you my experience with Levemir. I love Levemir. I will not go back to Lantus if I don't have to. It has just been a godsend of a medication that I was able to use last year for a month and a half between transitioning from the Omnipod to the Tandem. It is an amazing long-acting insulin, and I will always keep that with me, and that will be my primary long-acting. Now, could I take Lantus? Certainly, but Levemir has a little more benefit as a female, as if you were to accidentally have a child or become pregnant. That is the only safe long-acting insulin that you can have. But I also took it not only for that reason back last year. I took it because I was sick and tired of constantly feeling like my skin was on fire from Lantus because of how acidic it was. Anyways, I'll delve into that story later, but always have a long-acting at home at the very least. And then when you travel, carry one with you. Keep it in a cooler, because you don't know, even if you're out on travel, that pump could fail you. Technology fails. And with that being said, have your rates and your carb ratios and your sensitivities written down on a piece of paper. As dumb as it can sound, it will save you when that new pump comes in, that you're not having to mess around trying to figure out what were my rates, what did I have to do for this or that. I have all mine written down, as well as if you're like me and have a very sharp memory, I've got actually everything memorized pretty much to a T. Except one thing I'm not 100% sure on, because my endocrinologist just switched it, but I should really look at it and then kind of hold that in my memory bank that, hey, I have a good idea of where I am at. Anyways, I hope this was a somewhat making sense video, considering that I feel like I went all over the place, but I answered all 8 of these questions. Stay tuned for next week. We're going to answer the last 8 questions of Reba Redmond's Instagram challenge, again, coming from Maddie Nielsen's perspective. So anyways, I hope you guys are doing well. Cannot believe it's almost Thanksgiving. By the time I post my next video, it will be post-Thanksgiving. So please have a happy and blessed Thanksgiving with your family and your friends. And I will see you guys in my next video. Until then, take care, God bless, be kind, spread positivity, and be thankful. And I am so incredibly thankful, unbelievably grateful, and unbelievably blessed to have you guys in my life. So I will see you guys in my next video. Bye, everyone.